Right, good morning and welcome to today's meeting of the Development Management Review Committee. As usual, this will be held using the Council's hybrid protocols. Elected members who are in remote locations must keep their cameras on. If you want to speak, put up your virtual hand. Elected members in the chamber will put up their actual hands. I think that's probably us. And obviously it's being broadcast on the Council's YouTube channel and will be recorded. So without further ado, we'll make a start. Are there any apologies or substitutions?
Thank you, Convener. Apologies from Councillor McLaren, with Councillor Stewart substituting.
Okay, that's grand, thank you. And any declarations of interest or statements of transparency? That's a no from everyone, I think. The minutes of the previous meeting, which relate to the meeting on the 4th of September when we initiated this particular case, are these a correct record? Okay, thanks very much indeed. So we're now moving on to the business at hand. Item 4, the land 200 metres northeast of Carmiley Hall, Carmiley. And can I ask our planning advisor, Ms Milne, to take us through the slides on this item?
Sorry, take myself off mute. Thank you, Convener. I will just share my screen for the presentation. I can find it. Here we go. Hopefully you can all see that. Okay, so the case today is for the refusal of planning permission for the proposed change of use of land from agricultural in the direction of a crematorium and associated works at land 200 metres northeast of Carmiley Hall, Carmiley. The case in front of the members of the Dmrc seeks a review of the refusal of an application for planning permission for the change of use of land from agricultural use to a crematorium and associated works, which include the formation of parking, access, turning space, landscaping and boundary enclosures. The application site measures around 1.5 hectares and comprises agricultural land located southeast of the B961 public road. The majority of the site, which is around about 1.35 hectares, sits adjacent to and northeast of a woodland belt around 130 metres northeast of Carmiley Hall. The remaining part of the site comprises a linear section of land which runs adjacent to the public road on its southeast side and extends from the main body of the site in a northeasterly direction towards Redford. Surrounding land is primarily in agricultural use. The public road runs along the northwestern site boundary with agricultural land beyond. The closest residential property would be located at Tillyhoyt, around 300 metres to the southwest. The crematorium building would be located towards the southwest boundary of the site. It would have a floor space of around 673 square metres. Actually, I've got drawing. So the location plan here, the red circle indicates the sort of location of the site, and then the more zoomed in version, the red line is the site within the agricultural field. And the blue circle just indicates the location of Carmiley Hall. So, and this is the proposed site. You can see the actual building in the sort of bottom corner, car parking around it, and then the sort of staff car parking behind, areas of parking and landscaping. And this is the building. So the crematorium building is towards the southwest boundary. It would have a floor space of around 673 square metres. The highest part of the building would have a ridge around 9 metres high and would provide seating for 124 people. It would involve some cut and fill operations to create a level area for the building, and the proposed floor level would be approximately 167 metres AOD. The building would be finished in off-white render, natural stone and timber-clad walls. The ridged roof would be finished in natural slate, while the lean-to wings would be finished in sheeting metal. Solar panels.
Can I just ask you to stop just for a minute? We seem to have lost Councillor Stewart, who has popped off the screen, so we need to get him back. Otherwise, he's can't participate. So we'll see if we can raise him. We'll just recess for a couple of minutes until we can locate Councillor Stewart.
Thank you. Okay,
Can I just clarify the recording that we lost Councillor Stewart and he's now back on, and we're going to resume from the point where Councillor Stewart left the call. That's why we're going back to the beginning of the presentation. So just so everyone's clear about that.
Okay, thank you, convener. So I will start back at the beginning. So the case today seeks the review of the refusal of an application for planning permission for the change of use of land from agricultural use to a crematorium and associated works, which includes the formation of parking, access, turning space, landscaping and boundary enclosures. The location plan on the screen shows the one on the left. The red circle shows the general location of the site. And then the smaller map on the right, you can see the site is outlined in red. And then the blue circle just beyond that is the location of Carmiley Hall, just to give an idea of where they sit. So the application site measures around 1.5 hectares and comprises agricultural land located to the southeast of the B961 public road. The majority of the site, which is around 1.35 hectares, sits adjacent to and northeast of a woodland belt around 130 metres northeast of Carmiley Hall. The remaining part of the site comprises a linear section of land which runs adjacent to the public road on its southeast side and extends from the main body of the site in a northeasterly direction towards Redford. And you can see that on the right-hand side plan here, the red line sort of goes round the site and then goes up the side of the road. So that's what that's referring to. Surrounding land is primarily in agricultural use. The public road runs along the northwestern site boundary, just here, with agricultural land beyond. The closest residential property to the proposed building would be located at Tillyhoy, around 300 metres to the southwest. The crematorium building would be located towards the southwest boundary of the site, and you can see it here in sort of the bottom corner of the site. It would have a floor space of around 673 square metres, and the highest part of the building would have a ridge of around 9 metres high, and it would provide seating for 124 people. The proposal would involve some cut and fill operations to create a level area for the building, and the proposed floor level would be approximately 167 metres AOD. The building is to be finished in an off-white render, and I'll show you the elevations. So these are the elevation buildings here. You can see the main part of the building, and then the sort of yellow bits in the front are lean-to wings. So the main building is to be finished in off-white render. I've now lost my place to what I was saying. With natural stone and timber-clad walls. The ridged roof on the main building would be finished in natural slate, while the lean-to wings are to be finished in a sheeting metal, the roof of them. Solar panels are proposed on the southwest roof slope, and you can see that in the bottom drawing there. Ancillary rooms such as, these are just the ends. Again, you can see the materials. This is the ground floor plan, the main seating area, and then you can see the two sort of lean-to wings either side. The main entrance from the right as we look at the building. Again, just the roof plan. I don't know what I was hoping to get to. I maybe don't have. Right, fine. Ancillary rooms such as offices and toilets would be provided, and the cremulator and associated plant would be located towards the rear. This is the drawing here. So the rear of the building on the left-hand side as we look at it. A dark grey flue would terminate around 12 metres from ground level towards the south end of the roof. So that was shown. Yeah, you can see that the flue here on the drawings. The building would connect to the public water supply and would use a private treatment system for foul water. Sustainable drainage would be used for surface water management. A new junction serving vehicular access to the site would be formed onto the B961 public road. Plans indicate that a visibility sightline of 4.5 by 215 metres would be provided to the southwest of the new junction, with a 4.5 by 160 metre sightline provided to the northeast of the junction. The information submitted indicates that provision of sightlines would require the removal of 4 trees within the adjacent woodland belt to the southwest, which is not within the site. 120 visitor car parking spaces, 6 of which would be disabled spaces, would be provided to the northeast of the site. You can see that here. And with an additional 14 parking spaces, 1 of which would be a disabled space, and a staff car park to the southwest of the building. An area of cycle parking would be provided, which is, you can just about see there, in the sort of middle of the site. And 6 of the car parking spaces would have electrical charging points. A garden of remembrance would be formed in the southeastern site boundary, and the plans identify an area of landscaping adjacent to the building and within the car park. So the garden of remembrance is a sort of yellow square on the side of the building, the side of the site there, and you can see the proposed landscaping within the car parking area. The proposal also involves the formation of a new footpath adjacent to the southeast side of the public road between the proposed crematorium and the telephone exchange at Redford, around 800 metres northeast. The new path would terminate around 45 metres from the existing bus shelter located in the southeast side of the B961. So again, this is just referring to, where the red line extends along the side of the road. This would be to create a new footpath. The proposal has been amended to alter the proposed vehicular access arrangements from separate in and out accesses into a single in-out access point. The plans identify that a visibility sightline of 4.5 by 215 metres would be provided to the southwest, and to the northeast that would be 4.5 by 160 metres. Provision would be made for a new bus stop and shelter along the site frontage to the northeast of the proposed new junction and public road. And then there's the drawings showing these have been superseded. I can confirm I've had no previous involvement in the application, and I have no conflict of interest relative to the case, applicant, or any interested party. And I will just go through the case officer's report, notice of appeal, and other information are in the papers in front of members. And I'll just run through the photographs. So these are the proposed site sections. Sorry, they are slightly confusing. So this is, the top one is from the road looking southeast, yes. C is looking through the site, looking towards, towards Carmiley Hall, to the southwest. D is the same view, just slightly closer to the building. F is turning that round. So this is the top 2, C and D. We're looking towards the it's not the front of the building, but looking in one direction, and then FF, you're sort of the other side of the building, looking back up towards Redford. And then E at the top is on looking back towards the road, so sort of not quite on the site boundary, but within the site, looking back towards the road. And then BB again is sort of turning that round and looking in the opposite direction, so within the site, but looking back away from the road, back into towards across the field. Again, you can see the parking areas and the building within the trees. So these are some photographs. So this is on the road, the B961, looking northeast back towards the site. So this is not from Carmiley Hall, but just slightly further up the road. And then this is the southwest corner of the site. So you can see the tree belt, there's a wall in the tree belt, which is the boundary of the site. And then this is looking west, I say, away from the road, across the field. And again, this is sort of from the same place, but looking back down towards Carmiley Hall, you can see it in the background there. Again, kind of from the same place, but looking up along the road. You can see there's this stone boundary wall, which there would need to be some works done to create the access into the site and to create the sight lines. So this is then from like the other end of the field, walking up the road to the far end of the field, the far end of the site, looking back down towards Carmiley Hall. And so again, you can see the tree belt that forms one of the site boundaries. And again, just from the same vantage point, but looking sort of diagonally across the site. And that is the end of the presentation. I will stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thanks very much indeed. Do we have any questions for our planning advisor? Councillor Nicholl.
Thank you, Convener. The large trees that are to be felled, they appear to be out with the boundary of the application. Can that cause a problem for legality when we're applying for a site and we're applying for works out with the site?
Yes, it does mean that as the trees are out with the site boundary, that couldn't be controlled by condition. So yeah, we would need to look into some sort of legal agreement to have the trees removed. Yeah, because it couldn't be controlled by planning condition. I don't know if there would be any issue with roads, if they would have any control over that because it's due to sightline issues.
Mr. Barnes?
No, it would be up to the applicant to form a legal agreement with the landowner for the removal of the trees.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Got any other questions for our planning advisor? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Okay then, we've had the presentation from Ms Milne. Do members feel they have enough information to proceed to determine the case? Councillor Beattie, and then I've got Councillor Darnell and then Councillor Don. Councillor Beattie first.
Thanks, Convener. I see that most of the representations from the public are about road and traffic issues. I think maybe a site visit would be useful.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Beattie. I certainly would agree with you there. Councillor Darnell.
Thanks. I was just going to ask the similar as Councillor Beattie. I think a site visit, due to the fact that that road's quite open and there's a lot of traffic come down there quite speedy. So I don't think there's a specific speed survey being done on that area, but it'd just be good to see for myself what the traffic was like. So a site survey would be good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Doran.
I was going to just say the same thing. I share the same views. I think a site visit would be really valuable for this one.
Okay, I think it's fairly clear. I think Councillor Nicholl is nodding as well, that a site visit would certainly be hugely valuable on this one. So I think at that point we can ask officers to arrange that, and that will be an unaccompanied site visit, really as quickly as we can get that organised, and obviously we can then have a good look at the site, have a look at the roads. Mr Barnes can give us advice on sight lines and stuff like that, and speeds and all the rest of it, so we can do all that stuff on site. So I think at that point I'll thank you for your attendance this morning, apologise for the early start, and we'll organise a site visit really as soon as we can. Okay, thank you and have a good rest of the day.
Can you stop the live stream, please?